Right now we are in Charlotte, and this is GoPro course review. Alright, here's my thought lap. Here we have like a short right and then a bank left corner, which are so fast, and this is like fastest part on the track. Here we have to keep it in and try to keep it tight. And after this corner we have a right like a hairpin corner, where we have to put first gear, little handbrake, and then we go to uphill. And then we have a blind corner, which is our left. Here's like first or second gear. Short tarmac section, left corner, then we go to downhill. Here a little jump, and then we have a hard braking point here, and you have to make it tighter than possible. That was the GoPro course review. Thanks so much.
And it needed this entire race, week in and week out in this series, is the And gets to the lead. Now the other guys are going to chase him down. Wow, good move there.
Arpin making a move, Ken Block making a move. Just incredible. Toppy has not been on his game. We saw him a little bit earlier today, just making a few mistakes. Tough off the start for him to lose 2 positions like that.
Wow, and the most amazing thing is everyone's just muscling by him. I wonder if Heikkinen has a problem, because it is unlike him to get past so easily, and now he's in the back of the field.
Very tough, but we saw different strategies on the Joker lap here. We are going to have 2 cars. The top 2 cars will advance from this directly to the final.
Great racing there. The orange and gray car, that is Bucky Lasek in the Subaru, who's having, oh, just as I said it, he took a bad line and got stuck in the corner with Arpin, and now Ken Block is basically just checked out from the rest of the field. Heikkinen goes through, PK Jr. goes through. What on earth happened there?
They look so good coming around the corner there, and then just a little too sideways, and that's a T-bone situation, and there's nothing you can do but hit the guy who turns flat out sideways in front of you.
Bucky Lasek did some great racing. He took the shortcut, or the Joker lap there, as Ken Block did, which allowed him to thread through, and all of a sudden he takes the wrong line on this corner, and you see how quickly it can all change.
There's Bucky Lasek making an outside move. This track is great. It is wide. There is lots of room for passing. I don't know what's going on with Toppy. I don't know if it's nerves. He said earlier today that he performs better under pressure. Maybe just by starting, he's got this championship locked up and there's no pressure left. Oh, it's an outside front flat tire. Almost impossible to drive on a front flat tire. The car will not turn at all.
We were watching Heikkinen because we know how good this guy is and how aggressively he drives, and the fact that he was letting guys beat and bang all over him and wasn't coming back had to spell something wrong with the car. And there we see it. That right front tire is down. He is going to have to limp that thing all the way around to the finish.
A front flat is so bad. You can't stop, you can't turn. You can see here he's lost in the dust a little bit. Every time he makes a left-hand turn, the weight of the car goes to the outside right, and he just has nothing there, no control. We'll see him as he tries to make the tarmac turn. He's got to go so slow just to get the car to come around.
So right now, this is great for Bucky Lasek, who is currently sitting in second place. He's being chased by Arpin, but I don't know if Arpin's going to be able to catch him. Ken Block, of course, way out front, but just look at that. The tire is shredded off the front of Thomas Heikkinen's car. There is Ken Block trying to wind it down. He's going now past the white flag. This is the final lap of this heat for Ken Block. On board with Ken, going around the top of the course there, and it's clear sailing for Ken Block right now. Not so clear though for Thomas Heikkinen, who is going to have to fight his way out of that last chance qualifier to get into the final.
You can see him wide and wild on every single lap. Ken Block also looking a little wild, not what he needs to be doing, but he's got such a commanding lead as he comes into this final turn. And there he's got it.
The checkered flag for Ken Block. He won both of his heats so far today, looking absolutely great. We're waiting to see if Bucky Lasek can come around. Yes, Lasek, this is his 3rd career final in GRC. He has got to be overjoyed that he is going straight through to the final. Everybody else goes to the last chance qualifier, including Heikkinen.
Here we are off the start. We can see that Heikkinen gets a great start, but immediately starts having trouble.
Well, the real question is where Heikkinen had that trouble. And here you see Arpin working on him, makes that pass, and then Ken Block muscles his way through too. Well, bad start for Thomas Heikkinen for sure. And here Bucky Lasek taking this line.
Too close to the inside, couldn't get it turned in, and there was nothing they could do really but clash together there.
So Topi Heikkinen is getting past. He ends up getting shuffled all the way back because of this. You see that flat right front tire. So he is going to have to go into the last chance qualifier, and he has not been in an LCQ this year so far. But look at that. Block and Lassick already through. A great run from Arpin, but just not quite enough. And huge surprise at Heikkinen going to the LCQ. So one race already in the books now. We're going to get primed for race number 2. Global Rallycross is brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance oil that outperforms. And by Dodge Dart. Dodge, new rules. Well, what a difference a day makes. Take a look at this. Bone dry track. When we came in here this morning from a torrential downpour yesterday, this looked more like a wakeboarding lake than a dirt track. Absolutely unbelievable job the GRC team and the Charlotte Motor Speedway team did here to get everything ready. Well, division rivals take center stage next week when comeback player of the year Peyton Manning and the Broncos look to keep their high-octane offense going when they host Terrell Pryor and the Raiders in the Mile High City. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6:30. Then it's Oakland versus Denver Monday at 8:25 on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Getting ready for our next heat, but first let's pop down and check in with Alyssa Roenick.
Thanks, Tess. Yeah, Toppy, we saw you race most of that heat with a right puncture. At what point did you realize you had a problem?
Yeah, it happens on the first corner, and I get a good start on this heat, and everything looks good after the first corner, and then I felt it, and it's not good, but still we have the work to do, and let's go into the finals.
All right, we'll see you in the LCQ, Toppy. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Alyssa, and he really is having a tough day here, Jen.
Yeah, it looks like his luck maybe ran out a little bit. You can see actually the transition there from the tarmac to the dirt. That's a pretty steep transition, and he may have rolled the tire off the bead right there.
So here we go. Scott Speed, Travis Pastrana, and his teammate Bryce Menzies on the front of this grid. Dave Mira and Patrick Sandell in the back. We told you, watch out for the blue Mini of Dave Mira. He has been performing unbelievably well. Here we go. Ready for the launch. Oh, Mira looked like he may have jumped a little bit there in that blue Mini.
That looks like a jump start. Incredible for him to get so far out front, but I think he's going to make a trip to the penalty box.
And it looked like all kinds of trouble there for Bryce Menzies, who got caught up, and we saw the wheel bouncing away from the start there. The question is, are they going to red flag this race? Because Menzies kind of parked on a corner right there. He can't move.
He's definitely parked on that corner, but I think he's enough off the line that they'll continue racing under local yellow. Have to see when the cars get there, but Dave Mira right out front in the light blue Mini has pulled off the course.
Dave pulled off. I think he expects this to be his penalty box, so they were going to wave the black flag at Dave. And all kinds of chaos right now for Mira, so there is an actual penalty box on the course, and it is not the grid. Take a look at this fantastic onboard shot, though. You watch Mira sawing that wheel.
They are so busy. You think they're driving in a straight line, but really the wheel's back and forth. He's on the gas, he's on the throttle, he's on making gear shifts, on the handbrake to get the rear to come around. Amazing. So much work. So while all that chaos was going on, Scott Speed has actually run out into the lead, so he is enjoying a little bit of clear air, being chased very, very fast, though, by Travis Pastrana and that Dodge Dart. Remember, the top two advance straight through to the final. Travis Pastrana wants to catch Speed because if you win this heat, you will get a better lane choice in the final. Look at this great onboard shot. The jump back down into the dirt track from Pastrana. And I love this jump. It's a really natural feeling feature. Imagine if you're on the highway and you go over a little hill and your stomach drops. That's what's happening every time they go over that little jump. It's a great feature.
So 1, 2, and 3. Speed, Pastrana, Sandell. Sandell right now is looking at a last chance qualifier spot because only the top two will automatically go through to the final. Pastrana, though, he is fighting that car, trying to catch up to Scott Speed. Speed, though, looking really good, really smooth.
Speed's had mixed fortunes this year. He won his debut in Brazil, but we haven't seen that kind of performance out of him since. Maybe he'll get a shot here if he gets through this first and can be lining up in the front row of the final.
There is Patrick Sandell, who is having a little bit of trouble. Oh, and look at that back. The right rear tire of Sandell's car is down.
Seeing a lot of cars rolling the tire off the bead, dealing with flat tires. There's a lot of dirt, there are surface changes, big challenge. This is giving an opportunity for Mira to try and claw back one position.
Mira just a little too keen on that start. He made the jump. We saw him in his qualifying, in practice sessions. He has been so fast in that Mini. This Mini actually was Liam Doran's Mini, and of course Doran, one of the few people who's actually won a GRC race this season, that, you know, other than Topi Heikkinen.
The car debuted with a gold in Munich, showed its potential right away, and Dave has been handling it really well. The result of this heat is not going to show the potential that Dave plus this car as a combo are.
So here we go, Scott Speed. He needs to make just one more turn around the Joker there, and he will take the checkered flag. Speed advances. We're looking for Travis Pastrana to cross. Travis Pastrana also advances straight through to the final. And unfortunately, that means everyone else, including Dave Mira finishing right there, will be going through to the last chance qualifier. Great run there for Scott Speed. We saw how happy he was when he won his race in Foz do Iguaçu, and I expect there'll be a smiling Scott Speed underneath the helmet right there.
A little bit unusual. He's done so well on the dirt courses, being a former Formula One driver. So Dave Mira off the start looking fantastic, except he jumped it a little bit, so he was going to have to serve a penalty and all kinds of trouble for Bryce Menzies.
And here's Dave Mira, where he tries to figure out what to do. He knows he's going to be black flagged and doesn't go to the penalty box. He pulls right back on the grid, which caused all kinds of confusion. And there you see Sandell was cutting across there. He has that problem with the right rear tire going down. And this Dave Mira's onboard kind of just pushes Sandell out of the way.
Making a very aggressive move there, but still, he's in the LCQ.
So again, Scott Speed and Travis Pastrana go to the final. Everyone else, last chance qualifier, including hopefully Bryce Menzies, and that's assuming that the team can actually put that car back together. Really tough start for Menzies. And they're going to pull that car all the way onto the hauler and send it back to the pits. Global Rallycross is brought to you by Motegi, designed and engineered for performance, proud suppliers of the Ford Rallycross team. And by Ford, go further. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. This week on Sunday Night Baseball, don't miss as Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals try to keep pace in the race for the NL Central when they go on the road to face the Brewers. St. Louis versus Milwaukee tonight at 8 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. We're getting ready for heat number 3, but before we do that, let's check in with Katie Osborne, who's Travis Pastrana.
Yeah, Travis Pastrana, who finished second in that heat. Now, there was some confusion with that first heat. What was the confusion like, and what was your strategy going into that heat?
No, I should have paid more attention to the driver's meeting. We just came straight from the NASCAR race into here, so I thought that was to get to the final. I'm like, all right, won our first heat, but I can't say enough about this Red Bull Discount Tire Dodge Dart. I mean, we've done a lot of work this week. It's really competitive, so I was a little disappointed in that heat. I wasn't able to get out there quite as good, and Bryce had that incident in the first turn, but I really feel good. We're going to find a little bit more traction. We've got a lot of power, and I think we're going to be competitive.
Thank you so much, Travis. And now back to you guys up at the booth.
Thanks, Katie. And Travis, one of a few racers who actually is pulling double duty here this weekend, and none of them have really traveled much further than Brian Deegan, who has had a long weekend already.
What's up? Just landed from Las Vegas. I was out there racing last night. I actually just got out of my race suit probably around 11 o'clock, and I ran to the airport, jumped on a plane, and I was able to get here this morning just in time for the GRC Rallycross. I'm excited. It's all dirt, and it looks good. It's how I want it. Time to battle. I actually just need to wake up and get after it.
And Brian was telling me that he's racing Pro Light trucks out west, two-wheel drive. He's racing an all-wheel drive machine here.
That's a tough adjustment as we look at him in the front row here alongside Tanner Faust and Stefan Verdier. Back row, Sverre Isaacson, and for the first time this season, Pat Morrow in a Chevy Sonic. That's a brand new build he's been working on all season. Looking forward to seeing how the Chevrolet can perform today.
Sitting on board there with Sverre Isaacson, and he looks kind of just calm, cool, and collected, as does Tanner Faust. You would not think they were getting ready to do battle on this track. So you hear those engines spooling up, getting ready to launch. Who is going to get the whole shot?
Little bit of bumping through the first. Oh no! Tanner Faust is on his roof, got pinched the inside line, hit the tires, and ended up upside down.
Well, I have a feeling this one is definitely going to bring out the red flag. I love the fact that the windshield wipers are still working. As he went through those water barriers, you could see Sverre Isaacson. Actually, you could hear Sverre Isaacson was beating on the back there. He was coming so fast, and that obviously caused problems for Tanner Faust, who just had literally nowhere to go.
And you can see Tanner Faust in there moving his hands. That is the universal Rallycross driver upside down signal for please just push it over. We'll be fine and I can get going again, please.
I think what Tanner doesn't know is that there's no way to push that over because there's so much debris sitting underneath the car with that tire barrier that unfortunately he's going to have to wait for the wrecker to move him out in the onboard shot, and that is definitely not the view that Tanner Faust was hoping for. And we talked about the fact that Tanner has not won a race all season. He is the two-time defending champion of Global Rallycross. He really just wanted to get a win today.
Let's take a look at how it all went wrong for Tanner Faust in the first corner. Chose the middle starting position. That's a great place to start, but it does run the risk of getting a pinch, and that's exactly what happens to him here.
And he was pushing against Brian Deegan and basically just had nowhere to go. There you see the onboard from Sverre Isaacson as the water barrier just explodes in front of Tanner Faust. If you could put fault on that one, was Deegan leaning too much in, or maybe Faust? What do you think?
I'm not sure. Let's take a look at it again when we come back from break.
So Tanner Faust is sideways at the edge of our Global Rallycross track, not where he wanted to be, and the race is currently red flagged. So we'll have to get Tanner Faust out of there so that we can hopefully get this race restarted. And the big question will be whether that Ford Fiesta is actually going to be able to race once they get it back up on all four wheels. So doesn't look too bad, but we'll see once the officials and the track workers have done all the work to actually right that thing and get everything out of the way. So we will be back to Global Rallycross to continue this race when we come back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Charlotte Motor Speedway and Global Rallycross Racing. You're taking a look at Tanner Faust, who is currently on 2 wheels and sideways. Had a little bit of a crash at the start of this last heat, so we're trying to get Tanner hopefully ready and right so he can restart this race, Jen.
You see off the start, it's the yellow car in the middle, and we're looking for contact with the gray. That's Brian Deegan beside him. A little bit of bumping, and it sends him offline. I think he initiated that bump. I think they're going to call that fair play. He's already suffered the consequences by winding up on his roof.
And the big question is, can they get that car ready to restart the race? Looks like they'll just give a quick clean of the window, and he'll be good to go. Well, earlier today we ran our amazing GRC Lites program, and the final in that race was another fantastic race, as we've seen a lot this season, and this is how we called the GRC Lites Final. So we are set on the line for this GRC Lites Final. Joni Veman, you see there, the blue car on the very right-hand side of your screen. This guy has been unbelievable all season long, won every race so far.
Very consistent and a great starter, but beside him, Mitchell DeYoung in the Red Bull car. He is incredibly competitive, and he is the future of Rallycross. Kid's just 16, just had his birthday last weekend.
It doesn't even have a driver's license yet, and we saw him on this dirt track. Mitchell DeYoung is so fast. If he gets out front, I think he could start to run away with this. Here we go. Ooh! DeYoung just got pinched there between Ericsson and Veman.
And the whole field is blowing by one of our favorites, and that is Kevin Ericsson out front.
So Ericsson out front, the blue car behind him is Joni Veman, and then it's Sykes. But DeYoung just got shuffled there. It looked almost like he couldn't restart the car, like something happened.
Maybe a transmission, maybe skipped a gear. Very tough to make up ground in this series because all of these cars out here in the field are completely identical. This is a spec series, the GRC Lites. They're 310 horsepower naturally aspirated cars. They're kind of 7/10 scale to the Ford Fiesta supercars. Very similar body style and prepared by the same team. Incredible racing because these guys are evenly matched. It's a development series to get future stars in the sport some experience and a place to start.
And that's what I love about this Lites series, the fact that it's all about the driver, not about the car. So right now, Kevin Ericsson is in the lead. He's ahead of Joni Veman, and I gotta say, Ericsson putting in a great race so far at the start here. Ericsson rounds the corner. Here you see a battle between Mitchell DeYoung in the car in the back. The red car is Sebastian Ericsson. And DeYoung, you see how fast he is on the dirt here. He's trying to find a way past.
DeYoung's background is in short course buggy racing. Those cars have pretty good suspension travel, and dirt is definitely his home. He picks up seconds on the dirt for sure. However, what his learning curve has been this season is that those cars have a ton of suspension travel and are very durable. These ones, while built very tough, are a little bit more fragile, and for him it's been learning how far is too far to push the car.
And you saw there the Joker being used, and the Joker you have to run once per race. It's a shortcut just before the finish line there, and Westland passes DeYoung by going on the shorter lap. So that spells a bit more trouble, but wow, DeYoung again fights his way by. This guy on the dirt is just phenomenal.
And you can hear the cars here, these engines, they're naturally aspirated, which means they don't have the turbo power of the supercars coming out of the corners. These guys have to drive a little bit more aggressively, a little bit differently, and conserve momentum. Try and keep up the speed through every turn.
And I like the fact that when you saw that shot there, Sebastian Ericsson really was fighting for Sykes because Sykes is in third place, but this battle for first now, Joni Veman is catching up to Kevin Ericsson.
Joni Veman is consistent every single lap. Just enough to get in front of Ericsson there.
Oh, look at the back of Ericsson's car. The rear right tire is down. So Joni Veman gets past him, but you can see there Ericsson having all kinds of problems.
very difficult to control a car with a flat tire. When the car turns and the weight goes on the right side of the car, so as he's turning left, it's very hard to steer. The back end just starts to float around. Tough rest of the race ahead for Ericsson with a flat tire.
Look at this battle. It's actually for second place now. Sykes is trying to get his way past the crippled car of Kevin Eriksson. And Kevin Eriksson holding up the red car of Sebastian Eriksson there. I mean, he doesn't have much control, and he's kind of got nowhere to go.
Every time he makes a turn, you see he goes way wide. The back of the car swings out, leaving lots of room for the cars to pass in between. This is a pretty wide track. If this were a narrower track, that might not be such a bad thing, but here there's lots of room to get around.
So it's Sykes, then Sebastian Eriksson, and then De Jong, second, third, and fourth. And in the story we've told more than once this season, Joni Wiemann just way out front in this race. And I think his good fortune came from Kevin's misfortune and that flat tire, because Kevin Eriksson was racing a really, really impressive race.
We've seen some great potential from Kevin Eriksson this year. He is the son of Andreas Eriksson, the team owner of Olsberg's MSC that builds all of these cars. He's been racing in folk racing with his dad, who's a racer as well, and shown great promise this season, but Wiemann just took it away.
And Wiemann right now, he is actually closing in on Austin Dine, and he's about to lap Austin Dine. So the first car, that is Dine, and then this is Joni Wiemann. So he is that far ahead of the field right now. But Dine is still fighting. I like this. He's not giving up. He's trying to hold his position on that lead lap.
If I were Dine's spotter, though, I would be asking Dine, hey, pull aside. You've got the race leader behind you. Let that guy get some clean air so he can race.
And the protocol of racing does dictate when you know the leader is behind you. He's obviously incredibly fast. It's time to just kind of move out of the way and let the guy pass. I'm surprised now that Joni Wiemann is this close that Austin Dine hasn't just pulled off the race line.
It's possible, though, that Dine has lost contact with his spotter and just doesn't know he's there. When you're so focused, when you're in the driver's seat, you're so focused on what's going on in front of you, sometimes you don't want to drive in your mirrors, you don't want to be distracted by it, so he may not even know Wiemann is there. Looks like Wiemann may get an opportunity here, though. He doesn't even really need to pass the lap traffic, though.
So, still working on the back of Austin Dine is Joni Wiemann, but I mean, he doesn't need to make, as you're saying, he doesn't need to make a crazy move right now. He's got this race in the bag if he just stays in this position. He's got over 4 seconds ahead of second place Sykes. So long as Austin Dine doesn't really hold him back, he can just happily stay back there, and there it is. Oh, it's Sykes spinning it around on the finish line. That's not a good place to be. So Joni Wiemann takes the checkered flag and wins the GRC Lites Final again. An absolute perfect record in light racing for Joni Wiemann. Well, we really did enjoy that lights race, and Joni Wiemann again, perfect record in lights. We're here at the dirt track at Charlotte for Global Rallycross, and of course we saw some problems earlier on in that heat race with Tanner Faust, and Alyssa Roning has caught up with him. Alyssa.
All right, Tanner, let's start by just, when did you know that you'd run out of track?
I had a decent start with Brian, and I knew he had chosen the inside, so he was going to have to kind of slow down for that little right kink. As soon as he slowed down, I was going to take it, and so he didn't slow down. We both sort of just tracked out, made one little touch, which was actually not that bad. But then I just tried to get back in the track, and there was no hope. I didn't think it was going to roll. Thought I might just go over a set of tires, maybe melt some rubber, but it was, as far as rolls go, pretty gentle. I was ready to go.
So you were ready to go. The car seems to be in good shape. What's going to happen now? We're going to have a restart of this. Are you going to be able to be back out there?
Well, when I was upside down there, I shut the car off. I was talking to Andreas. I was telling the guys that I was ready to, flip me over, put me in line. I could see in the rearview mirror they're already lined up. But they said, no, I need to bring the car back here. When it goes on its lid, they have to check the cage, make sure it's not cracked. And so our best chance is the LCQ.
All right, we'll see you there. Back up to you guys in the booth. Tess, Jen.
Thanks, Alyssa. Well, again, not where Tanner Faust wanted to be, but he has that chance out of the last chance qualifier. But this cuts down now to a 4-car race in this heat.
And lots of room in that first row between Brian Deegan and Stefan Verdier. Tons of room for them to go. I think Brian has a good shot at this, getting this start, getting the whole shot here.
You know what I actually am interested to see here is Sverre Isaksson was so fast in that last heat start. If he gets the same kind of launch, he may be able to find a way through between those 2 cars in the front.
He can try, but that's a risky move. He could end up pinched and be on his lid, just like Tanner Faust was in the first corner.
So that is Sverre Isaksson in the blue and yellow Subaru, ready to launch here, heat number 3. And look at Isaksson go! He's trying to find a way through. He did at least get past Verdier, but Brian Deegan held the whole shot.
He wisely backed off just a little bit there, so he didn't end up in a sandwich between Verdier and Deegan. And we're riding along on board looking at the dust of Brian Deegan, but he's going to try and get a nose in wherever he can.
He is crawling all over the back of Brian Deegan's Ford Fiesta. I gotta say, we saw Bucky Lassett looking really fast. I don't know what they've done to the Subarus this week, but they really do look very sporty. Brian Deegan takes the shortcut, the Joker lap. Sverre and Stefan Verdier take the long way around. Remember, the Joker, you run it once per race. You get one shortcut. Brian Deegan has already used his shortcut.
And you were asking what you thought the Subarus had done. They've had a 7-week break, which is long enough to do a little bit of suspension tuning and a little bit of engine mapping in the case of the Subaru team. They're developing their package at every single round.
So Brian Deegan is trying to get as far away as possible from Sverre Isaksson and Stefan Verdier. Meanwhile, his teammate Tanner Faust, the entire team there from OMSE, working hard getting that car ready.
Isaksson ducking into the Joker lap and still trying to find his way around Brian Deegan.
So on the left-hand side, Tanner Faust's car parked, getting ready for the last chance qualifier. On the right, Brian Deegan holding up a charging Sverre Isaksson.
You can see there in the pits, mechanics using their best friend, duct tape. Important part of a mechanic's toolkit.
So we are just over halfway through this heat race, and Sverre Isaksson is just punishing Brian Deegan. Anytime he leaves a little bit of a crack in the door, he is somehow going to try and find a way through. We know Brian Deegan, though, is very fast on dirt.
Deegan is a dirt pro. He's got a ton of rear-wheel drive experience on dirt, and when he finds it here, it's like he's at home cutting that apex. He's very aggressive, deep into the corners, braking very late, but so is Sverre Isaksson. The top 2 cars here advance. I think Isaksson should back off a little bit and take it easy, because he will advance to the final, even if he is the second car across the line.
Well, I don't know if Isaksson can back off that far, because you see the white car of Stefan Verdier right behind them, and Verdier actually looks like he's starting to catch the top 2 cars now. So I think Isaksson better get going, actually, because Verdier is looming large in his mirror. Oh! And we just saw a problem with Stefan Verdier there. He turned the car sideways, so unfortunately he's not going to make that charge, and that's good news for Brian Deegan and Sverre Isaksson.
He got himself backwards in the long banked turn. You can see there on the screen that blue groove. That's rubber that's actually laid down over the dirt. That does mean that a very clear line has developed on the track with a ton of grip, but if you get off it, it's easy to slide out.
Well, this is the final lap. The white flag was flying as they came over the finish line, and Isaksson still trying to find that way past Brian Deegan. Remember, finishing first will give him a better choice on the grid to start the final. Wow, this is crazy. Isaksson's really working hard on Deegan.
Here we're approaching a jump. Look how close they are as they're in the air.
And there we go. Brian Deegan takes the checkered flag barely ahead of Sverre Isaksson. Unbelievable racing all of the way through to the finish. They will both advance through to the final. The rest of the crowd goes to the last chance qualifier. I really thought maybe Isaacson would, rest, but no.
That was pretty close, I gotta say. 0.2 of a second between those two cars at the line across the finish.
So a true photo finish here at Global Rallycross. Take a look at this. Wow. Well, great racing there. And now let's check in with Alyssa Ronig.
Yeah, Tess, we've got quite a crowd down here around. Tanner Faust's car. You know you're in a time crunch when your team owner is here working on the car, but it seems to be mostly body work. Thank goodness for duct tape. I think we're going to see Tanner out there in time for the LCQ.
Thank goodness for duct tape there. You see Andreas Eriksson in the white shirt. And I think Andreas actually enjoys kind of hammering on those cars a little bit. Thumbs up for Tanner Faust. So we will be seeing him in the last chance qualifier. So when we come back, last chance to get into the finals of the GRC Supercars. Be sure to join us. Global Rallycross is brought to you by Puma, the official apparel and footwear supplier for Global Rallycross. And by Subaru. Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. Well, here we are, the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway for Global Rallycross. And we've seen all kinds of carnage here so far today. Tess Sewell along with Jen Horsey. And this has been really fun racing, but I can't believe some of the things we've already seen on this track.
You put these guys 70% dirt and 30% tarmac instead of the usual other way around, and you're going to see some craziness as we've seen today.
Well, the surprise here, Tanner Faust being kind of punted out by his own teammate in Brian Deegan, and I think wise not to let him restart after this.
The mechanics are going to want to take a thorough look at the car after it's been on its roof, but I don't think the damage was too bad there. I think they'll be able to fix it and bring him back out.
And there you see an awful lot of duct tape being used on that Faust car, but they've got it ready. He is strapped in, and it looks like he is ready to go racing in this last chance qualifier to fight his way through. And another one of these crazy stories of what has gone on with cars today has to be about Bryce Menzies. Let's check in with Katie Osborne. Katie.
Yeah, Bryce Menzies had a disappointing heat there with his front right completely ripping off. They've been working very hard here in the pit. It looks like everything is replaced. There was a thought that he wasn't going to make the LCQ, but as you can see, he is getting his helmet on in the car there, getting ready to go to the LCQ.
Well, and you saw this start. What really happened there, you think, to Menzies' front end?
It looks like Travis Pastrana may have clipped him a little bit, but there must have been something break in the suspension. That is the whole half shaft there. Should not come off that easily. So big damage there.
And Menzies, one of the racers who was doing double duty. He was actually racing with Brian Deegan this yesterday, and now he's had to fly all of the way here, so Menzies has got to be exhausted. So he is getting ready to go. Faust is getting ready to go, but right now let's check in with Alyssa Ronick.
Yeah, Tess, you heard Tanner say that was about as easy a flip as he could have had. It was easy on the car as well. Talking to his crew chief, he said, like you said, a lot of duct tape. They had to replace some windows, tape the door shut. But other than that, no further damage, just a little body damage. So he's out there ready to race.
Thanks, Alyssa. Some of the best names in the Rallycross business are now in the last chance qualifier, including Thomas Heikkinen, which is a huge surprise.
Just unheard of. That's his first visit to an LCQ this year. Tanner Faust in the LCQ, and Dave Mira, the #2 qualifier in his brand new Mini, also in the LCQ.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens as this last chance qualifier. Well, they're widely regarded as football's first family. Don't miss as we revisit the upbringing of the Manning brothers with never-before-seen footage and stories from their beginnings in New Orleans all the way to their ascent into NFL superstardom. SEC Story, The Book of Manning, Tuesday at 8 on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN. So they're getting ready to regrid here so we can start the last chance qualifier. Can Dave Mira pilot that Mini into the final? As we said, looked super fast in practice and qualifying, and a few mistakes that he's been making, I think, that have cost him and put him in the LCQ.
This car is unlike anything Dave's ever driven before. When he started his rally career in 2007 in the long-form version of rally, he was in a Subaru. He's never driven anything else. He shone from the first moment that he got behind the wheel of this Mini, setting fast times in practice, setting fast times in qualifying, but he's struggled a little in competition. We're going to have to see what happens.
And then Tanner Faust, he's getting ready to race, but what an amazing guy Tanner Faust is. We caught up with him and checked up a little bit of his life. Faust knows how to race, and he knows how to win one of these.
My name is Tanner Faust. I drive the Rockstar Energy Ford Fiesta ST Rallycross car. Thank God for Gymkhana Grid.
Gymkhana Grid goes to Tanner Faust here at X Games Los Angeles.
And winning a gold finally this year was awesome. I've won in Europe twice and won in Gymkhana, but I haven't won anything in Global Rallycross, which is the championship that I'm doing. In Loudon, I was leading the race. I was having some engine problems, and Toppy was gaining pretty quick.
Tanner Faust is still leading this race on the final lap. Heikkinen knows he really has to start charging hard.
A spotter saw that he was coming and told me to go to the inside for braking, but neither of us really remembered that the inside was covered in dirt from the rain earlier in the day. As soon as I touched the brakes, the right tires were on dirt, the car just rotated, and I was going 100 miles an hour at a concrete wall.
Oh, Faust charging too hard!
No!
Oh, Tommy Heikkinen takes the turn! Heikkinen is going to win in New Hampshire!
It was a bell ringer for sure. I was just lucky to get across the line. Back at Atlanta, I got a flat.
Oh, disaster for Tanner Faust.
When the tire spun with the flat, it turned completely sideways. It's literally a braking problem and a turning problem, those are both important.
And Tanner Faust managed to hang on to second place.
Charlotte has the potential to be the best track ever. It's got the best dirt because it's an actual dirt track. There's a ton of grip on the dirt, and for me, that's commitment. I'm just going to throw it hard. I'm going to definitely push this little Fiesta to the limit and give Toppy a run.
Well, to give Toppy a run for his money, he's going to have to fight his way out of the back row of this last chance qualifier, and it's going to be a pretty hard battle because there are some really amazing races on this grid.
Dave Mirra in the front row, Arpin.
And look at that, Thomas Heikkinen right in the middle there, hoping that he can fight his way into the final. Here we go. A launch in the last chance qualifier. Oh, and a little bit of contact there. Lots of contact.
That is a lot of cars to go through this first corner. We saw Dave Mirra take it a little bit too easy, I think. Got himself in kind of a bad position, but we have Arpin way out front and the rest of the pack shaking down behind him.
Tanner Faust just blazed through that corner, trying to get in before everybody else. And I think that might have cost him. Dave Mirra, though, completely off the side of the course.
He just got pushed off the outside of that ramp, nowhere to go but down, but he's going to try and recover. This guy has a rally career behind him. It ain't over till it's over, but yeah, maybe it's over.
Oh, and I think what's going to happen here is Tanner Faust is going to get a black flag, but then more chaos happening.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Two favorites right there. That is Tanner Faust, and that looks like Sandell and also Bryce Menzies in that pileup.
I see a red flag in the flagman's hand, and they are right in the racing line on the start-finish. There is no way they can run this race. Red flag is flying. Tanner Faust was just so crazy aggressive.
And you can see he's frustrated in the car there, trying to see if his wheel will turn. He's got to get out of the car. Red flag. I think we're going to have just a few cars left when we get to finally run this final, or this LCQ.
No, well, the interesting thing about this LCQ is they were actually showing Tanner Faust a black flag for aggressive driving as he was coming over that start-finish, and then just all these guys get sandwiched together. He's checking on Patrick Sandell and I'm checking on Bryce Menzies. I wonder what that conversation's all about. So there you see that Rockstar Ford Fiesta crushed up right at our finish line. We didn't even get one complete lap in before this happened, and it's going to take a while to clear this mess up.
And we'll look at a replay of the start. You see Dave Mirra in that sort of turquoise light blue car being a little bit tentative and lots of contact. Arpin gets out front, and then everybody else starts trying to battle for that number 2 spot.
And you can see pieces of car already flying as they go into that first corner. And then here, going up the hill, it was Faust that gave Mirra that push that sent him off the side of the course.
And there are all those cars coming into the start-finish through the lap there, and everybody just loses it. The whole bunch of them sideways and into the wall.
Dave Mirra out of his car, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like that Mini is going to be able to continue. So, obviously, a very upset Dave Mirra.
Dave's very upset. You can see him talking to race officials there. He's trying to get his point argued. He thinks he was taken out.
So we have to get ready for a re-grid here, and we'll see what happens with this last chance qualifier. So more exciting racing still to come. Be sure to check back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Division rivals take center stage next week when comeback player of the year Peyton Manning and the Broncos look to keep their high-octane offense going when they host Terrell Pryor and the Raiders. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6:30. Then it's Oakland versus Denver, Monday at 8:25 on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Well, it's been absolutely fascinating so far. You saw the carnage as we tried our last chance qualifier. For more on what's going on, let's head down and check in with Alyssa Ronig.
Yeah, thanks, Tess. Certainly not the day Tanner Faust was scripting. Tanner, at the end there, we saw you opening Sandel's door, opening Menzies' door. What were those conversations like?
I was apologizing. I came around the first bank and went onto the brakes, and it was full throttle the whole time, and 600 horsepower. When you're expecting it to all go away, when it stays there, there's nothing wrong with the cable, but maybe when it was upside down, it had some fuel leaking somewhere and got something stuck. They're saying, I don't know, but either way, I went over the top of Mira, and then it like cleared out, made it up around the hill, and coming down the hill, it happened again, and then I was like, I got to get off, and I got the black flag at the same time, so it was not ideal. I feel so bad, especially, to be honest, for Mira, because he was really killing it this weekend. I know he's so excited to be driving, and I feel terrible that I took that away from him.
Well, thanks, Tanner. And speaking of Mira, we'll go now to Kate, who's with Dave Mira.
Yeah, Dave, a lot of emotion. You're ranting and raving here. What exactly are you so frustrated about?
People that, it'd be awesome. I mean, first and foremost, I want to thank Puma and Liam and everybody that helped to get me here. For one, I set out and did what I wanted to do. I won practice. I qualified second in seating, very, very fast. It's exactly what I wanted to do. But to come into the racing with a jump start, I'd love to see the video, because I know that I did see somebody brought a camera up. It wasn't a jump. I want to be proven wrong. And with the driving that just happened right there in that last heat was ridiculous. Tanner, I've lost a lot of respect for his driving. That is not how you drive. That is unbelievable. I mean, you don't come into a hairpin that fast and not be able to, and just, it's not demolition derby. Where's the gentleman's racing? I'm disappointed for sure. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Dave, we're extremely sorry about the disappointment here. It is quite a lot of emotions going on through your brain. Best of luck here for the rest of the season you have.
Hey, I know that I smoked. I think I went fishing today. I just reeled in a couple people, and I know I was fast. That's what I wanted, and I love it. But the kind of racing that I saw there was just pathetic.
Yeah, understood. All right, Black, you are pretty quick here today. You're 2 heat winners here. You're quick in your seating. What is it like going into the final here?
I'm ready. I mean, I've been really on average the fastest qualifier all year, and I've just had the worst luck in the final. So all I'm doing is focusing on just trying to get the best start and get through the first corner, and then let's battle on the track instead of getting shoved out in the first corner. So I'm ready.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck there. Back to you, Tess.
Thanks, Katie. Ken Block is ready. We're ready for the GRC Supercar Final. It is going to be unbelievable racing here from Charlotte when we come back. Don't miss it. Welcome back, everyone, to Charlotte Motor Speedway and Global Rallycross, getting set for our supercar final here. We have called the LCQ and it's declared an official result. Arpin, Verdier, and Heikkinen all transfer through to the final. And speaking of Topi Heikkinen, let's check in with Alyssa Ronig.
Yeah. Yeah, Tess, you know, I just talked to Topi, and there's been so much action down here that we've almost forgotten our story coming into this was Topi locking up the championship. I said, have you had a chance to even let that sink in? He says, right now I have so much pressure going into this final. I'm just happy to make it through that mess in the LCQ, and now the pressure is on me to keep my streak alive. So he's going for 6 in a row out here today. He'll celebrate after this race.
Thanks, Alyssa. And Heikkinen, actually the last guy to transfer into the final. Well, this week on Sunday Night Baseball, don't miss as Carlos Beltran and the Cardinals try to keep pace in the race for the NL Central when they go on the road to face the Brewers. St. Louis and Milwaukee tonight at 8 on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. GRC Supercar Final is coming up on your television from Charlotte when we return. Can Ken Block finally win one? Find out when we come back. Global Rallycross is brought to you by Sylvania. Sylvania ZXE high-octane headlights. And by GoPro, the world's most versatile camera. Well, let's take a look at our Puma race summary from this amazing race so far. And, well, it's got to be all about this last chance qualifier.
Incredible. Tanner Faust comes back. Oh, look at him there. So much trouble with his car after having it repaired, and the throttle stuck. Look at him come through, just plow into the Hyundai there, plow into Dave Mirra. Nothing he could do, couldn't get on the brakes.
And because of all of this carnage and all of the mess, the GRC officials decided to call this race. And so Steve Arpin, Stefan Verdier, and Thomas Heikkinen transferred through to this final. Heikkinen getting the last spot, and he's trying to keep his streak alive. Check out this, the Royal Purple starting grid.
Ken Block on the inside, Brian Deegan in the middle, and Scott Speed in the outside row.
And then those Subarus, which have looked good today, Lassick and Isaacson and Travis Pastrana lined up right next to them. But the back row, there's a story for you.
On the inside, we've got Thomas Toppy Heikkinen, undefeated in the last 5 rounds, and he's starting from the back row.
Ken Block on the front row, Travis Pastrana sitting right behind him. Block has never won a GRC race. Is today his day? Wow, another fantastic launch for Sverre Isaacson, who already got past Ken Block, and Block has shuffled back to 5th already.
Brian Deegan turns sideways, manages to escape without a scratch and rejoin the traffic, but not everybody else is so lucky. So many cars sideways in that pinch there coming off the long bank.
A lot of carnage there in the corner. You saw Travis Pastrana look like he got pushed sideways going up the bank. So right now, there's all kinds of mess going on, but it looks like Bucky Lassick was in the lead. Is Pastrana stuck on the hill?
That's bad news, as if he's stuck there, the cars are starting to come around the long bank into his position, and if he can't get it out of the way, they will have to flag it.
So on the outside, Sverre Isaacson is stuck at the bottom of the hill. The top of the hill is Travis Pastrana. It's a chicane going up this hill, and it's Scott Speed who is actually in first, then Brian Deegan, then the orange and gray car of Bucky Lassick. Wow, the red flag is flying, because really that hill, it was a chicane, and Sverre Isaacson being on the outside at the bottom of the hill, that would have caused a lot of trouble for guys coming into that turn hot.
Very tough. The cars were able to just get through there, but it's not safe when you've got drivers sitting in there. They've had to red flag it, pull these cars out of the way.
And you saw Travis waving there like he'd lost the steering. But look at this. Ken Block gets shuffled to the back, and Scott Speed manages to kind of power out front.
Deegan gets turned sideways on the fluff there on that long bank turn. Looks like he's going to come back and recover, but everybody's going too fast, and a whole bunch of cars get caught up in a mess.
And you're on board there with Sverre Isaacson, who basically gets pushed out of the side, T-boned by Brian Deegan, and can't restart that Subaru.
You just heard the cars all crunching together in that corner. What a mess.
So once again, the race, red flag. Sverre Isaacson at the bottom of the hill, Travis Pastrana there at the top of the hill, and here Travis Pastrana walking back to the pits. He crashed out of his NASCAR Nationwide race yesterday and now crashed out of Global Rallycross. He is not having a great weekend. Well, let's check in with Alyssa Ronig, who's actually caught up with the 199, Mr. Travis Pastrana.
All right, Travis, just tell us what happened there.
Nah, just ridiculous. I mean, it's bumper cars, which I love bumper cars, don't get me wrong, but I mean, you know, everyone here, Red Bull Discount Tire Dodge Dart, we worked so hard to get this car good, and you know, we were a little conservative in the heat, but really thought we had something for the final here. So just been an extremely disappointing year in general, but you know, I was really excited. We were pretty quick, and I thought we could race well with these guys and, you know, give Ken and these guys a run for their money, but they just straight up bumper cars. Which again, I do enjoy, but only when you're on the good side of it, I guess.
Yeah, but not out here at a GRC. You'll save those for Saturday afternoon fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's difficult to pass. Everyone knows that. So the first bit, hey, I'm guilty. I'm always running in there, but there's guys on the inside, guys on the outside. So it's just, couldn't see anything. I mean, yeah, it's frustrating. So thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much, Travis. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Alyssa. He really is disappointed because you could see that car was running well, but he's not going to get to run it in the final here today. The division rivals take center stage next week when comeback player of the year Peyton Manning and the Broncos look to keep their high-octane offense going when they host Terrell Pryor and the Raiders in the Mile High City. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6:30. Then it's Oakland versus Denver, Monday at 8:25 on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. So everybody getting ready to restart this final. Look at the onboards here from Travis Pastrana, though. Cars going every which way.
Contact, contact, contact. Everybody just hitting, and you can hear the sound of the metal crunching.
And you saw when Travis got pushed sideways there, that's when it looked like the front end let go, and he didn't have any steering. There was no way to get out of the way there. So with Travis at the top of the hill, Sverre Isaksson at the bottom of the hill, that caused the red flag to come out. Isaksson is going back on the grid, but unfortunately that Dodge Dart is not.
And we're looking at the front left wheel of Travis Pastrana as they try and get him out of the way there. Big suspension damage, big front corner damage. So much damage, in fact, that wherever they attached the tow strap there, it broke. So that looks like that's him out for sure.
So Travis Pastrana's car will be dragged back to our GRC pits, and I guess we'll have to wait until Las Vegas to see Travis Pastrana race again. So huge disappointment for the whole team, the 199 team there. And as we said, Travis Pastrana out of the final. But Thomas Heikkinen, he's in the final and ready to go. He's dominated the GRC circuit all season, winning the previous 5 events of the Tour to take a huge lead on the competition. And let's take a look at his fantastic year.
The Finn is unstoppable at the moment. It's the flying Finn, literally.
This is bad news for everybody else with the Finn out in front. Heikkinen is now going to chase down Faust.
Oh, no!
Oh, Tommy Heikkinen takes the turn! Heikkinen is going to win in New Hampshire!
Toppy flexing a little loud and muscle here.
The youngster from Finland is flying. If you want to win, get a Finn!
Thank you, Munich.
5 for 5, number 5, the checkered flag for Thomas Heikkinen.
The man who is on top of the world is Thomas Heikkinen.
I think we have like a huge party tonight.
And the T-shirt slogan of the year, thanks to our friend Toby Moody, if you want to win, get a Finn. And that Finn right there is hoping to win another final here at GRC. He's already the champion, Jen.
He is, but if he wants to win and he wants to extend that winning streak and he wants to have another podium, he's had a podium at every round and he doesn't want to lose that streak, he is going to have to battle back from the back row. I'd say it's almost impossible.
So I think what he's got to really think about now is he's got a clear view of Ken Block because Travis Pastrana is missing on the grid. So now Thomas Heikkinen, he sees the front row, he sees Ken Block. Block, who just got punted at the start of that last race, he is going to be, I think, a lot more aggressive off the line because he needs to defend that front.
I'm still not sure if the inside or the outside is the best place to start. We've seen guys get good starts from the outside and the inside, and Ken is on the inside. Risky there, could get pinched into the tires on that first turn.
You were just on board with Sverre Isaksson. He's in that blue car, and he has had probably the best starts all day. GRC Supercar Final ready for restart here in Charlotte. Another great start for Isaksson, and Block again can't get through. Oh, speed in front of Deegan, and then Block, then Isaksson.
But Isaksson demolishing a water barrier. I don't think he's going to be able to rejoin the field.
Oh,
rolling
that's
to a stop.
Bad for Sverre Isaksson. So it looks like he's out of the race, but he's off the track. That's good news. So not another red flag. But right now, there's Thomas Heikkinen. He is trying to find a way through to the front. He's in 4th place right now. Speed, then Deegan, then Block, and then Thomas Heikkinen. Oh, and Block a little bit sideways coming across the finish line.
I'm very impressed with Scott's speed in the dirt. He took his first win at his first race on an all-dirt course very similar to this in Brazil. And he's showing that he can really lay down the laps here on the dirt in Charlotte.
But Brian Deegan right now crawling all over Speed's back bumper. Deegan in the dirt really does reign supreme. This is Brian Deegan's world. He knows dirt. He's come from a race where he's been racing a two-wheel drive, a rear-wheel drive truck. I think he's getting used to his rally car again here, Jen.
Usually takes a couple of laps just to get a feel for it again, and he's been showing, he's been speeding up the more time he spends behind the wheel here, but it's going to be tough to close that gap.
Oh, Deegan went sideways and clipped the inside pole there. I don't know if that's any kind of race penalty for knocking part of the course down.
He was on the right side of it when he started, and hopefully it didn't do too much damage there. It doesn't look like it. He's driving just fine.
Wow, Deegan behind Speed. Look at this. Heikkinen bumping into the back of Ken Block, and look at the front of Block's car. He's lost the right front tire.
Heikkinen in the Joker lap there, taking the shortcut and coming out front of Block, who was also taking the Joker, so no advantage left to him for that shortcut. That's Heikkinen moving all the way from the back row into third place on lap 4 of 9.
I can't believe the speed Ken Block is still moving at with no tire on the front right of that Ford. He's still going. He's still in fourth place. You're on board with Ken Block right now.
But Steve Arpin looks like he's going to catch him. It's tough when you're in a corner and you're on a flat tire. Ken Block has shown he can do amazing things with just 3 tires, but again, it's that outside front right. I think they're making it flat in the transitions between the bank and the tarmac here.
Look at the front of Scott Speed's car. Something happened. Look at the damage that he's incurred on the front of that car. Wow, so not sure what he actually hit, but that is not good for Scott Speed, but he's still hanging on to the lead.
I'm not worried about that damage. You know what's missing there is a bumper skin. It weighs a couple pounds and it looks pretty, but it doesn't do anything.
So Scott Speed in first, being chased by Brian Deegan, and Deegan is just pushing that car so incredibly hard. He goes so wild on these corners. Take a look at this as he makes the right-hand turn up the hill, pushing hard to try and catch up to Scott Speed. Gained 0.3 of a second on that lap behind Speed, so he's coming, but is it enough? Lap 6 of 9.
I don't know if it is. Brian Deegan's last Rallycross win was at X Games 2011.
Oh, he did say he thought it might be a tough adjustment to get into the rally car, but I've got to tell you, he looks like he's driving the wheels off that thing. So there's Speed. There's Deegan. And the crowd here is going nuts for Ken Block, who's still racing.
Scott Speed's putting in some very clean laps. Deegan is pushing just a little too hard. I'd say he's overdriving the car just a bit, and that's not the way to make up time on a former Formula One driver.
So the white car there on the left, that's Scott Speed. The gray car is Brian Deegan, and the gap seems pretty consistent.
Something's about to change here, though, because here's lap traffic. Ken Block spun out on that long, wide turn, and suddenly he's in the way.
Ken Block actually was completely in the way there for Scott Speed. Speed actually connected with him. Now Speed is trying to get past Bucky Lasek, and Lasek is actually moving really slowly. So does the Subaru also have a problem?
Well, he does have a problem in that he's holding up the race lead right now. And it looks like he'll pull out of the way on his spotter's instructions.
Deegan had to go around Block, and he's behind Lasek. This is the final lap of this race, and so far Scott Speed is hanging on. Bucky Lasek in the way of Brian Deegan. Deegan must be furious right now. He can't get past Lasek.
There he goes, just up the inside and makes that pass, but that was not where he needed to be held up. He's going to have an impossible task to close this gap.
Too little, too late for Brian Deegan. Scott Speed wins in Charlotte. Brian Deegan having to settle for second. Unbelievable racing here. And it ends the streak for Thomas Heikkinen, who takes third place. Wow. Incredible racing and unbelievable finish there for Scott Speed. Stay tuned for ABC World News with David Muir, or your local news coming up next on most of these ABC stations. Global Rallycross apparel provided by Puma. Well, that's it from here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Absolutely incredible racing here and great fun at Global Rallycross. Congratulations to Scott Speed. And thanks for joining us here at Global Rallycross. We'll see you next time.